conflicts. The thing about conflicts in our culture is that it's considered very negative. It's almost as if an indication that something has gone wrong. And that is a myth that I want to bust today. In fact, studies even suggest that conflicts bring people together, closer together. They strengthen the bonds. Don't believe me? Well, you will by this session. So why am I saying conflicts are healthy? It's because, firstly, it's impossible to not have conflicts in any relationship, because it's just not possible for two people to agree on everything all the time, isn't it? We are all different individuals, and hence we are bound to clash. We are bound to have disagreements, and they're okay. As long as you know how to resolve it in a better way, you are going to be just fine. So please remember, the key is not to avoid conflict. It is in fact to resolve these conflicts in a healthier manner. So before we move on to these strategies, I just want you to take a moment and think about your automatic reaction to conflicts. If you need some help, I can give you examples. So there are some of us who are very uncomfortable with the conflict, so much so that we go out of our way to avoid them. So either we suppress our emotions or we give in to the other person's just so that we don't have to deal with it. Yeah. There are also some of us who get very overwhelmed with conflicts, and in that process they end up yelling and shouting and losing that control over themselves and their emotions. There are also some of us who take conflicts very, very personally, and hence they end up overreacting to situations. Well, whatever your go-to strategy might be to now, just try and reflect whether they are healthy or sustainable in the long run. So we've gotten into this habit and pattern of these things, which is why we keep passing it to the next generation. So chances are that your children may also take on to your strategies, because children emulate, and quite possibly your own strategies are also these strategies that you have picked up from your parents, when you were growing up. So if you want your children, and I'm guessing most of you are parents who are watching me, so if you want your children to learn healthier techniques to resolve conflicts, then it's important that you follow suit as well, that you first learn it and be role models for them. So let's move on to these strategies that I'm talking about. So the first point, let's call it the first step, is I call it the power of pause. Yes. So whenever you notice a conflict coming your way, be it inside you when you notice an emotion, or there is a trigger in the environment, or there's somebody who's approaching you with a dispute, pause before you respond. A short pause will help you gain that emotional control so that you respond rather than react. And there's a big difference between the two. Reaction is when we go with the flow. We are not in control of the way we react. But response is something which is a choice that we make. So wouldn't you rather have a choice to really respond how you want to respond rather than just react in the emotional flow? Yeah. So take the time to pause. Time is a very precious thing, and time also seems to dilute that intensity of the emotions that you might be feeling. And time also gives you, like taking that pause also gives you that space to breathe, to gain perspective and practice self-control. Now moving on to the second step, or my second point, and I call it zoom out to gain perspective. So imagine that you are viewing the conflict from a neutral place, at a greater distance, almost like as if you're watching a movie, and you are a witness to that movie. So by doing that, you will realize that you get a very fresh perspective on that issue, because when we are inside that situation, we are very preoccupied by how we feel and how we are looking at that situation. And when we come out of it, we are able to gauge it from a more unbiased point of view. So having that unbiased point of view will help you to be rational and be logical in your approach to conflict resolution. Now let's move on to the third step. Once you have recognized what the issue is, you have taken that pause, you have gained some perspective. Now the step is to communicate it with the other person, right? And as basic as communication may sound, but unfortunately it is not one of our strengths, because most of us are oscillating between the extremes when we are communicating. So either we are in this passive place where we end up suppressing our emotions, giving in to the other person, being submissive, or we are on the other extreme spectrum, which is we are aggressive and we end up yelling and shouting and being hostile when we are trying to convey something to the other person. So we just don't know how to be in this middle place. And this middle place, psychologists call it assertive way of communicating. So this essentially means that you are, expressing your point of view to the other person clearly and calmly, without either being too passive or being too aggressive. So so communicate assertively. And now I'm going to give you some hacks, how you can make that communication even better. So one hack is, using empathy statements. And empathy statements immediately show acknowledgement. And when people are in distress, what they are really looking for and what they really need is acknowledgement. In fact, a lot of those conflicts arise because people, what they really want is, that sense of validation, that sense of acknowledgement. And the moment you give it to them, the conflict is resolved already. Yeah. So acknowledgement does not mean that you're agreeing with that person. All right, it just means that you get it, that you get where that person is coming from, you understand where that person is coming from. And some of the great empathy statement starters are something like, I'm sorry, so I'm sorry to hear that, I'm sorry about your situation, about your experience. Or something like, I understand, I understand what you're saying, your situation, your frustration. I understand that you do not feel supported right now. And now coming to the next empathy statement, and this is something which really changes the zone from me versus you to making it like a team, and you versus the problem. And that is starting with let us. So let us work together to develop a plan to figure this out, or let us talk about what support you might need. So you see this, it automatically changes it and makes you and the other person a team against this problem that you need to solve. And now coming to another important aspect is, being action focused instead of being person focused. And what I essentially mean by that is, instead of labeling the person, it'll be more helpful if you really state the behavior about that person that you do not like. For example, instead of saying that you are so lazy, saying that I don't like when you throw your socks around, can you please put it in the basket? Yeah. So when you say that you are so lazy, or when you label that person, it automatically makes that person feel very, very attacked. Won't you feel that if I say that to you, you are so this, you are so that? Yeah, so we feel very attacked, and hence we become very defensive in that process. And when we become defensive, we start to blame. Either we'll blame you or blame others, blame the situation. And that's how the conflict will never get resolved. It will just not lead to anywhere. So try and be as specific about the behavior as you can, and stay away from labeling the person or attacking the person. So now moving on to my fourth step, which we can call it, think of it as resolving and not winning. And this is something that we do it all the time. We think of conflicts as fights that needs to be won, as war that we need to win. But conflicts are just a problem that we need to solve together. So please remember that, it's not a me versus you thing, and it doesn't have to be, that improving that you are right or wrong, because it's never about that. It's just a problem that you need to solve together. So do not make everything a competition. Who is working harder, how many times one person has cleaned the trash. You get the picture, right? Often what happens is that we start to deviate and we start to dig up old things that might be lying around. So you are talking about maybe cleanliness and you end up going on a different tangent and talking about what 10 years ago happened. So whether you are doing it or the other person is doing it, whenever you recognize that you are moving off the tangent or you are losing the focus, just try and bring the focus back to the issue at hand. Now, coming to my fifth and final point, which I call it collaborate and or compromise. So, of course, the end goal of the problem, end goal of the conflict is to resolve it, which is, finding a solution that makes all the parties happy, which is like a win-win for all of us. And it satisfied all of us. So, of course, if you can do that, if you can come with solutions that can make all of you happy, of course do that. Brainstorm until you get there. But there are certain times when that is not possible. It's not possible to come to a solution which will make everybody happy all the time. There will be problems to which we may not have that kind of a solution. So then it becomes essential to come to a compromise. So rather than dragging the conflict, it is more helpful if you can come to some sort of a compromise rather than, again, dragging it to just get your way. Yeah. In fact, even Dr. John Gottman, and he happens to be one of the most renowned couple therapists, he talks about compromise, being an art. So he says that while it may not seem perfect, because everybody, gains something and loses something in a compromise, but if you think about it, it just means that you are working together to find some common ground, and it will in fact leave you both feeling valued, respected, and supported. And isn't that what all of us want? Feel supported and valued. Yes. So when nothing works out, compromise is actually a great thing. It's not a negative thing. So think about that.